So in my last video about Overlord's Adventurer Guild, we took a look at the ranks everybody may eventually hold if he trains hard enough and survives long enough. But in this video, we are going to dive deep into the lore of the elites. And we are going to start with the Platinum Plates. This is a rank you can only obtain if you were born with a higher level cap or a special talent. Basically you need something that will allow you to grow where others would stagnate. Just let me give you an example what I mean. Two persons complete an identical workout routine in order to gain muscle. Person A is a very small guy who has problems gaining mass. Person B is a very tall guy able to gain muscle fairly easily. Therefore the exact same diet and workout routine will lead to a drastically different level in strength. This inequality is also one of the reasons for why adventurer teams might lose or gain some members, or fracture entirely. For example, if Swords of Darkness hadn't run into Clementine, Ninja might have become Platinum rank, while the others likely would have been capped at Gold. Just think about it. She held the talent of Magic Aptitude, and could therefore learn spells twice as fast, and with each level gained, one could learn up to 3 spells, before a higher level would be required. Therefore, each level she would gain by strengthening her spellcraft would be gained with half the effort. So I therefore theorize that by pursuing her arcane path, Ninja eventually would have become a Platinum Plate. And if she was indeed solely focused on her magic skills, she might have gained this rank even before being above level 20, simply because she wouldn't have to waste levels for mundane things such as cooking, like Brain Anglaus did. So only one person in the entire team of Swords of Darkness would have been able to achieve Platinum rank, which might lead you to ask exactly how common these ranks are. Well, we have exact figures at hand. The Kingdom of Riestais, with its 8 million citizens, has only 3,000 adventurers, and only 600 of them are Platinum ranked or higher. So only 20% or 1 in 5 are fortunate enough to have the preposition necessary. And this ratio isn't random, but based on the Pareto principle. It was originally described by Vilfredo Pareto and simply states that 80% of the land owned in Italy is owned by only 20% of the people. And ratios like that seem to be pretty common. For example, in 1989, it was estimated that 80% of the wealth is owned by 20% of the people. And as far as businesses are concerned, usually 80% of all sales can be linked to only 20% of their customer base. So again, Overlord was a parallel between fantasy and reality, which helps to ground this setting. And with that said, let's move up even higher to Mythril. While not adventurers anymore, Team Foresight is equivalent to this level. Powerful, versatile, and extremely experienced. They were able to survive highly dangerous life and death situations on a routine base. We are talking about threats to an entire city. And as a team they were at least able to withstand Einsolgarn himself for a limited time while engaging him in melee. And Ein's physical strength is equivalent to Adamantite adventurers. And while normal adventurers would have to make do with fairly normal weapons, Mythril ranks have access to the truly elite equipment. For each expedition, Foresight bought consumable items like potions or healing staffs for a couple or even a dozen gold coins. And normal Mythril adventurers would need to expend, let's just say half of that, simply because they have access to better infrastructure and will therefore get a more accurate description of the danger at hand. Let's just take a moment and compare this to normal adventurers. For Britta the red-haired ranger, a normal potion was extremely valuable. She skipped meals and quit alcohol for weeks or even months just to buy one single potion for the low price of 1 gold and 10 silver. And not only their equipment is rare, Irantel, the fortress city, built at the center of multiple trade routes leading directly into the kingdom, had only 3 Mythril class adventurer teams. And after Kralga was killed under tragic circumstances, only 2 remained. Kralgra, despite receiving multiple warnings, simply insisted on accompanying Momon on his quest to slay a legendary vampire. And let's just say right in the middle of the Shaltir incident, Ainz's mercy was in high demand, but in extremely short supply. So a third of all Mythril ranked adventurer teams in Irantel overestimated their abilities. And the same applies to Team Hindsight. This raises another question. Why would Mythril ranked adventurers behave like they were freshly registered copper plates and overestimate themselves in such a manner? Well, think of it that way. You and your team was able to breach into a realm few will ever achieve. And you still can go beyond even this rank. You're already quite famous, and you likely enjoy various minor special treatments by the guild, and your pay is quite considerable. You're able to afford luxurious housing, excellent food, and magic items on a regular basis. Each accomplished mission and each item will bring you closer to your end goal, Adamantite rank. Only 2 more promotions and you will wield it. And after slaying this vampire, you might only need 1. So this second phase of hubris and misjudgment might kill many high-level adventurers, even if they have access to proper information. But some of them may survive and advance into Orichalcum rank. Logmire, the thief looking after Renna's watchdog, as well as Logmire's team, are of this very rank. They managed to come into a close range of Adamantite, but they choose to retire from active duty and were hired by Marquis Raven instead. And while normal nobles see adventurers as an existential threat to their power, especially because they are the source of many worker groups, Marquis Raven was a bit more open-minded in that regard. After all, he played a quite dangerous political game and therefore had a clear need for highly concentrated military power. Let that sink in for a moment. Even in retirement, your team alone is powerful enough to be a factor in power politics on a national scale. And to illustrate this point even further, if you're an Orichalcum ranked caster, you're likely able to use the 4th tier of magic, a skill very few possess. For example, the elite scholars of Fluda Paradane would also fall into this category. And while Mythril class are somewhat handicapped, Orichalcum plates seem to be a bit more sensible and prepared. Because at some point, Logmire and his friends realize that they are growing old, and that adventuring will be more dangerous with advanced age. So instead of risking to die eventually, they choose to retire by getting a somewhat secure and low-risk job as the elite troops of Marquis Raven, one of the great nobles in a country constantly on the edge of civil war. And again, they were hired for good reason. If you survive decades in active service and retire as an Orichalcum class adventurer, not only will your power be almost unmatched, your experience alone will let you win battles before they even started. And again, let me give you an example. Logmire prepared countermeasures for the supposedly incarcerated illusion maniac, a member of the 6 Arms, while watching Renna's watchdog, and dutiful to the very end. He and his team also ended their lives quite heroically. They died so that the Marquis may live. And even in the face of certain death, this Orichalcum class team remained level-headed enough to make this fatal decision on a moment's notice, even coming up with a strategy to maximize the chances of escape for Marquis Raven. And with all of that said, I will yet again end this video before discussing Adamantite ranked adventurers, simply because there's so much stuff to it that this rank deserves its own video. And with that said, I will wish you a very nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon. Over and out.